Hello everyone, and Shabbat Shalom, Rabbi Rosen here. As always, wonderful to be with you. Next week we observe with a lot of joy and gladness the holiday of Purim. It's a time of letting go, a time for kids and adults alike to dress up and just enjoy themselves, to recall a story of triumph. But at the same time, there is something very serious that underlies the holiday. It is known as the experience of overcoming hatred. It is known as the time in which we celebrate the victory over a would-be genocide that could have destroyed the entire nation of Jews in Persia. And this Shabbat, which precedes Purim, reminds us of the power and necessity of remembrance. It is known as Shabbat Zachor, the Shabbat of memory, and it reminds us of the attack of the Amalekites against the camp of the Israelites at its most vulnerable place, the rear of the camp, where all of the women and children were located, which is to say, all of the non-combatants. Because tradition associates Haman with being an Amalekite, we read about the attack of the Amalekites on this particular Shabbat. Today's horrible attack in New Zealand, in which 49 individuals were murdered by a terrorist or a terrorist group, reminds us that Amalekism is so sadly and tragically alive and well in society and in the world at large. One doesn't have to be Jewish to be a victim of that kind of hatred, and indeed, that's precisely what we have witnessed. An attack against people at a time of vulnerability, at a time of prayer, in a house of worship. In this situation, as in so many others, the question really is, what happens after all of the wheels of justice turn, the arrests are made, security is upgraded, and the passage of time allows a certain kind of forgetfulness? A Jewish response is, Zachor, remember. Rabbi Jonathan Sacks is fond of pointing out that in Hebrew there is no natural word for history. Historia, the word that is commonly used, is actually an import from English. When we want to recall the past, the word is memory, Zachor, Zechira. And with memory we make the lessons of the past alive today. We make them a kind of powerful present in our own experience. We remind ourselves to be vigilant, to seek justice, and to live by the highest standards of love, compassion, and justice that are at the core of our tradition. This Shabbat and next week, this is a lesson for us as Jews, but it truly is a lesson for humanity as well. And as our hearts go forth to the victims and families of those who suffered so terribly in New Zealand this week, I hope that this message of hope can yield a measure of comfort to all who mourn. Thank you. Shabbat Shalom.